या देवी स्तूयते नित्यं विबुधैर्वेदपारगैः सा मे वसतु जिह्वाग्रे ब्रह्मरूपा सरस्वती। नमामि नारायणपादपङ्कजं करोमि नारायणपूजनं सदा वदामि नारायणनामनिर्मलं स्मरामि नारायण तत्त्वमव्ययम्. Invoking the grace of Goddess Saraswati, Guru Ayappan, Mahaperival and Guru Parampara, we are now continuing our discussion on Dasakam 10, verse number 9. We completed the verse last time where it was mentioned that Brahma brought out the Vedas, the Puranas and other branches of learnings from his mouth and taught them to his sons. Now here we should understand that Veda is not created, but it is manifestation only. What is there is brought out. Krishna says they are life breaths. Now it has been taught to the rishis. To sons here means basically you should understand the rishis only, because Sanakadikas were all munis, jnanis by themselves. So the rishis who were from the body of Brahma were born, like Marichi, Atri, etc., the 8 rishis we talked about. And Narada also we can include there. I think 9 rishis from Marichi to Daksha, and then Narada also. So these rishis, this Veda was unfolded. So it is, therefore the rishis are called mantra drashtas, because they could see the mantras, and Veda is called as Apaurisheya. These are all things just for information. We should understand here that Brahma, he came out of the earliest Rajas and Tamasic activities, which were more of pravrittis, and entered into now Nivritti Marga, whereby which is more associated with the knowledge. Therefore the Vedas came out. The Veda, our Dharma is called Sanatana Dharma. I am Sanatano Dharma, means the Sanatana word represents the Veda. Sanatana means timeless or time immemorial. Veda is also timeless. So Veda kilo, there is a Smriti Vakya, Veda kilo Dharma Murti Smriti Shilecha Tadvidam. It should be understood that Veda, the founding stone of Veda is Dharma itself. So Veda is nothing but the personification of Dharma. So what is Dharma is unfolded in the 4 Vedas. So Veda kilo Dharma Moolam. Therefore we say Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means Veda Dharma. It could be seen this way. Now the 4 phases of the Brahmaji was talked about here can be symbolized as the 4 directions, and it could be also equated for the 4 Vedas. Now what is brought out here is what is called Vedas, the Puranas, other branches of learnings. Traditionally it is called, or classification of the Vedas and other Vidyasthanas, they are called Chadurdasha Vidyasthanas. That means 14 Vidyasthanas are talked about. 4 Vedas, 6 Upangas, 6 Vedangas and 4 Upangas. They make it to 14. Chaturdasha Vidya. 4 plus 6, 10 plus 4, 14. These are called Vidyasthana as well as Dharmasthana also, because they are also making us walk on the path of Dharma. What are the 4 Vedas we are very familiar about is, one is the Rig Veda. The Rig means the mantra or hymns in the form of verses extolling Devatas. Rig Veda is mostly in the form of Rigs only, therefore it is called Rig Veda. There are as many as 10,170 Rigs in Samhita portion is there. The Acharya, the representative of the Rig Veda is called Hota. I am briefly only covering because I just wanted to give an outline of the whole thing. The Yajur Veda represents the Yajus or the Yajna aspect where it's covered. The whole where rituals are covered there. So the representative for the Yajur Veda is called the Advaryu. And the Sama Veda, Sama means Shanti. Sama versus conducive to the spiritual evolution of self. That's how we can be seen. In Gita also, Lord says, Vedanam Sama Vedosmi. Even in Lalita Sahasranam there is a verse like Samagana Priyayai Namaha. So the Sama Veda has got a special importance and significance. The Samaveda are nothing but the rigs or the verses are given, mantras are given practical shape. are given musical forms in the form of melodious hymns. In the case of Yajurveda, the mantras are given practical shape in the form of yajnas. Here they are set to music in the melodious hymns. That is what it is, the Samaveda is. So that's why Samaveda is more like a music. In fact, Gandharva Vedas come from that. We will see that also. That. So Samaveda is the third one. And the Samaveda's representative is the Udgata. And the Atharva Veda is represented by Brahma himself. It is said that Atharva means the name of the word Purohit is called Atharvan. And that's how the word Atharva came. Mantras designed to ward off evil and hardship and to destroy enemies. That's what the content of Atharva Veda is. So mantras which pertain to Devatas, which are not contained in any other three Vedas, not mentioned there, they are covered in this Atharva Veda. And they also deal with hymns relating to the creation, the wonders of the creation. That is why there is called a Prithvi Suktam, which is coming there. Brahma is overall supervising the conduct of yajnas and is a special representative of Atharva Veda. Therefore, four representatives are there: Rig, Hota, Yajus, Advaryu, Sama is called Udgata, and Atharva Veda is called Brahma. So these are the four Vedas. This is only a broad outline. So these four Vedas fall in the first one, and then calls Vedangas. Vedangas is 6 in number. The first is the Siksha. Siksha means the nose and the lungs of the Vedas. It's the life breath of the Veda mantra. Its basic function is to fix the parameters of Vedic words, and it deals with the phonetics. Then the second is called Vyakarana. Vyakarana is called, the origin is the mouth. It is one Vyakarana mostly known as the Paniniya Vyakarana. There are also other Vyakaranas. In fact, in Ramayana there is a mention of Hanuman himself as Nava Vyakarana Pantitaha. He is one who knows all the 9 Vyakaranas. Then the third is called the Chandas. That is represented by the organ of feet, the feet of the Vedas. Chandas has another meaning as Vedas themselves. So Chandas is the metric composition. Rig and Samavedas are wholly in verses. Foot means the pada, denotes the unit of division of a stanza. Therefore, it's called a pada. We know that normally in any verse thing there are 4 padas. So, except in Gayatri, in some Gayatri there are only 3 padas. Otherwise, normally these is 4 padas are there. Now, when you count the number of syllables for this, we consider only the vowel and the consonant linked to the vowel. Like for example, Om is called a monosyllable. It has only one akshara, because O is the vowel. Makara is a consonant, therefore it is excluded. Like that, the number of syllables are counted and the padas are defined in terms of various names. Like Gayatri has got considered to be 8 in name, 8 syllables. But Gayatri has got only 3 padas, therefore totally there are 24 syllables. Otherwise, there is another meter called Anushtup. Ushtup, Anushtup, like that there, no? That has got, Anushtup has got again, there is 8 syllables, but the 8 into 4 will be 32. So Ushnik, Anushtup, Brihati, Pankti, Trishtup, Jagati, these all we say in our Sandhyavandana mantras when we chant. These are all the various syllables, chandas are being talked about. It starts from 7 to 12. So it starts from 7 to 12. Ushnik, Anushtup. Ushnik is the 7th. Then comes Anushtup 8, Brihati 9, Pankti, Trishtup, Jagati. Like that up to 12 it goes. There are some syllables goes beyond to even 26. 26 syllables to a pada is called Utkriti. These are all defined details. Beyond 26 syllables are called Dandaka. These are more of details. The more commonly known is the Gayatri mantra. Gayatri is the meter actually. It is called as mantra. The name of the Rishi is Vishwamitra. The mantra's name is Savitri. But it has got again 8 syllables, but there are only 3 padas. Therefore, there are totally 24 syllables. So these chandas define the how to chant there. There is a metric composition is there. Because without these chandas, we will not be able to chant these mantras. For example, even the current Deshaka which we are having, there is a there is a meter called Vasanta Tilaka. It contains, I think, something like 14 syllables in one pada. If you see quantity, you will see. So it is that's how design. Even not only Vedic mantras, even other texts also have got chandas defined there. So which facilitates chanting. So chandas becomes the feet of the Vedas, the pada. That's why the feet word is used. Nirukta is the fourth case. We started with Siksha, Vyakarana, Chandas. Nirukta is the ears. Nirukta deals with the etymology. So Nirukta is the Vedic dictionary or Kosha we say in Sanskrit, or Nigandu also is used. The famous Sanskrit dictionary is Amrakosha, which is very common. Then the Jyotisha. Jyotisha represents the eyes of the Vedas. The eyes of the Vedas, there are three parts of Skandam. Skanda Trayatmakam they say, Siddhanta Skandam, Hora Skandam, Samhita Skandam, etc. So, Jyotisha basically deals with astronomy and astrology. Astronomy deals with the planetary position. Astrology relates to how it affects the world and how it affects the human beings. That is what is covered in the Jyotisha. And the Kalpa is the arm of the Vedas. Kalpa is what induces one into Vedic action, as it deals with particularly how a particular ritual is to be performed and what functions or karma should be performed by a person based on his varnashrama. Varna means Brahmana, Shudra, Vaishya, etc. Kshatriya, and our four graha ashramas are also talked about. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. So depending upon that, what functions or karmas are to be performed is also detailed in the Kalpa. This is a very broad outline. There are various Kalpa Sutras are also there. We are not going to detail. So the second is Veda, then 6 Vedangas. Then we come to Upangas. Upangas are 4 in number. One is called Mimamsa. Mimamsa is basically dealing with the divided into 2 actually, Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa. Purva Mimamsa deals with the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. An inquiry. Mimamsa means an inquiry into Vedic teachings. That is called Mimamsa. So Purva Mimamsa deals basically with Karma Kandas, and Jaimini is the main famous Mahasutras of Jaiminis are very commonly known, and there are also some of the Kumarila Bhattas also are there. Then Uttara Mimamsa deals with the Vedanta Upanishad portion, a Vedantic portion, and basically it covers, for example, Brahma Sutra is the commonly text which is being discussed in the Uttara Mimamsa. So one deals with the karma portion, other is with the knowledge portion, briefly. Nyaya also is there, second one. There is what is called Nyaya, Vaiseshika Nyaya. Nyaya deals with the Tarka, the methodology used to arrive at a result based on a particular logical reasoning. So there are 2 schools of thoughts. There is Nyaya, Vaiseshika is there, and then Sankhya is there. Sankhya is the basic famous one, is the Kapila's Sankhya Pravachana Sutras. In fact, we will deal with the Kapila Vasudeva's thing also subsequently in Narayaniam. We will come to get some idea of the Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy is distinct with the Advaita, which is talked about, which is detailed, which is explained by Shankaracharya. So this is coming under Nyaya. And the Puranas are 18 Mahapuranas, 18 Upapuranas, and Itihasa 2. 18 Mahapurana, if you want to know the names: Brahma, Padma, Vishnu, Vayu, Bhagavata, Naradiya, Markandeya, Agni, Bhavishya, Brahma, Vaivarta, Linga, Varaha, Skanda, Vamana, Kurma, Matsya, Garuda, Brahmanda Purana. I am reciting this name, I am giving out the names of the Puranas because even reading out the name itself is a punya. Then 18 Upapuranas there, also there, and then there are Itihasa Puranas, basically, 2 basically, Srimad Ramayana and the Mahabharata. And our Gita, Bhagavad Gita appears in the Bhishma Parva, part of the Mahabharata. Then comes the Dharma Shastra. Dharma Shastra is a very, very important text of Upanga of the Veda. But whatever is spelled out in the Vedas, they are being implemented in practice through various Achara and Anushtana, which are spelled out in the Dharma Shastra. Basically, Dharma Shastras are also many, like Manusmriti, etc., Yajnavalkya, so many are there. And this Dharma Shastra basically deals with all our samskaras, like of the rest of 40 samskaras are talked about and Atma Gunas are talked about. These are, Dharma Shastra becomes very important for a person to achieve mental purification by leading a life of, by following the Anushtanas, Acharyas mentioned in the Dharma Shastra, one becomes a person fit for gaining knowledge. Dharma Shastra is an important segment of the Upanga. So we have Dharma Shastra. So we have Upangas are 4: Mimamsa, Nyaya, Purana, Dharma Shastra. So 4 Vedas, 6 Vedangas, 4 Upangas. These together constitute called Chadurdasha Vidyasthana. Means 14 Vidyasthana. They are also Dharmasthana. Besides that, we also got another 4. They are only pure Vidyasthanas. And they are basically the Ayurveda relating to, linked to Rigveda, Dhanurveda linked to Yajurveda, Gandharva Veda linked to Samaveda, and Artha Shastra leading to Atharva Veda. So these constitute the additional 4. They are only purely Vidyasthana, they are not Dharmasthana. So if you add these 4 also, totally there are 18 Vidyasthanas which are talked about in totally. We have 14 Vidya plus Dharmasthana and 18 Vidyasthanas are talked about in our Vedic Puranic text. So all these were brought out by the Brahmaji and taught to the sons, rishis and all. And here it should be mentioned here that it is taught to the rishis so that these rishis, they can use it for the benefit of the world. Now, but Srishti Brahmaji was moving from the Srishti and he again could not move forward because he was doing the Nivritti Marga. So he was in the knowledge aspect only. So he again found that he was not able to move forward in the Srishti Prakarana. And therefore, he got worried. And therefore, it is mentioned here at the end that since he was not able to continue creation, he surrendered to Lord again with total devotion to bless him for continuing the creation. The word ends in the verse ends in this manner. We will then move on to 10th verse in the next session. Bhabe bhabe yata bhaktihi padayostava jayade tada kurusha devesha natastam noita prabhu nama sankirtanam yasya sarva bhava pranasanam pranamo dukkha samanah tam namami harim param. Narayana akila guru bhagavan namaste. Hari. Ya devi stuyade nityam vibudhair veda paragaihi same vasadu jihvagre brahma rupa saraswati. Namami narayana pada pankajam Karomi Narayana Pujanam Sada, Badami Narayana Namadharmalam, Smarami Narayana Tattvam Abhyayam. Invoking the grace of Goddess Saraswati, Guru Ayappan, Mahapiriyava, and Guru Parampara. We are now in Dasaka 10, going to enter into the verse number 10 of Dasaka 10. The last session I dealt in detail, of course it was an outline about the contents of the Veda. A few more things I thought I just wanted to complete it for the sake of completeness. Mention few things. I mentioned about the 18 Puranas, Mahapuranas. There are also 18 Upapuranas which I didn't mention the names, which I thought one should know about it as an information. 18 Upapuranas are Sanat Kumara, Narasimha, Dihannaradhiya, Shiva, Durvasa, Kapila, Manava, Ausanasa, Varuna, Kalika, Maheshwara, Shamba, Shaura, Parashara, Devi Bhagavata, Aditya, Vasishta, Vishnu Dharmottara. In this 18, we must be familiar with the Shiva Purana and Devi Bhagavata, which comes there. And about Dharma Shastra also, which I would like to add here, that Dharma Shastra is basically the Smritis, and they contain various Dharma Sutras for living a dharmic life. So it contains the Griksha Sutras, which relates to the Upanayanam, Annaprasna, etc. I talked about the 40 karmas about it, and also the Shrauda Sutra, elucidating the Vedic karmas. So the Achara, Vidhi and regulations are detailed in Dharma Shastra. In fact, in all these sutras, Bhagavad Dharma Shastra is formed of various sutras. Like Panini, we have the Panini Sutra, in Dharmadasa also in Sutras. And of course, these come from the various Smritis. Smritis means from various Rishi, Manus, etc. Manu, Vishnu, Dharma, etc. So many Rishis are talked about, Yajnavalkya, etc. Their Vakyas, which are written, they are called Smritis, whereas Veda is Shruti. This much difference we know. So these regulate our day-to-day, our life, how to conduct our life. So our Achara and Anushtana, they are all embodied in the Dharma Shastra. About Veda also had not given the split up earlier, but I have already covered it earlier, therefore I didn't. But as a summary, I would like to mention that Manta Brahmanayo Veda Nama Deyam. This is how the Shayana Bhashya says. Vedas, the Karma Kanda, is divided into Mantra and Brahmana. This Mantra is the Samhita, Brahmana is the ritual aspects. And this is called the Karma Kanda portion. And then the Aranyaka represents the Upasana Kanda, which is a link to Karma Kanda and the Jnana Kanda Upanishad. It is for one to progress from Karma Yoga to Jnana Yoga. So in the Aranya represents the Dharma of Vanaprastha. It is to be studied from Aranya or forest, because it's a seclusion is required. The word uses Aranyaka. So the mantras which are there also in the name of Upasana mantra. So Adhyatmika Tattva, which are very much profound, which are profound concepts, I must say, they are unfolded in Aranyaka as a preparation for gaining Vedantic knowledge that is contained in the Upanishads. Various number of Upanishads, etc., 10 Upanishads and all, I have given already the names in the earlier session. I am not repeating this. We should understand this, the word, one more thing, the Veda, the word itself means, it has come from the root called Vid. Vid means to know, the second Prasmani Padam. It also comes in other 6th and 7th and 10th forms, but it is here understood as to know. The first person is Veda, Pradama Purusha is Veda Vidma, and the third person is called Veda Vidatuhu Vidanti. This is the form, the Kriya forms. So Veda means the one who knows. That's why we see here in Upanishads also, Ya Evam Veda, etc. So Veda, the verb, to know is the meaning of the word Veda, and from there Vedaha is the masculine form, the noun form is mentioned here. So Veda means the body of knowledge. This much is the completion of the aspects of the contents of the Vedas. Now we will move into the verse number 10. Verse number 10. Janannupayamata dehamajo vibhajya stri pumsa bhavama bhajan manutadvadhumyam tabhyam cha manusha kulani vivardayam stvam govinda maruta puresha nirundi rogan. Repeating once again. Janannupayamata dehamajo vibhajya stri pumsa bhavama bhajan manutadvadhumyam tabhyam cha manusha kulani vivardayam stvam govinda maruta puresha nirundi rogan. All these are very tough to chant because there are so many conjunct consonants are coming. Now we look into the Anvaya aspect. I'll read out the Anvaya, then we'll go to the meaning. Atha ajaha upayam jananna deham vibhajya manutad vadhubhyam stri pumsa bhavam abhajat. He Maruta Puresha, He Govinda, Sambodhana it is, Tabhyam cha Manusha Kulani Vivardhayan. This is the prose form. We will go into the meaning of this. Atha ajaha, then Brahma. Aja means Brahma here. Upayam janan, knowing the means. Deham vibhajya, dividing his body into two. Manutat vadhubhyam, as Manu and his wife Shatarupa. Stri pumsa bhavam abhajat, assumed the forms of man and woman, that is male and female. He Maruta Puresha, O Lord of Guruvayur. He Govinda, O Govinda. Tabhyam cha, with them. manusha kulani vivardhayan, multiplying the human race. Tvam, thou, rogan nirundi, deign to eradicate my ailments totally. So then Brahma, coming to know the means of continuing creation by the anugraha of the Ishvara. That is from Ishvara, we have to understand here. It's not mentioned specifically, but it should be understood that way. From Ishvara. Coming to know the means of continuing creation from Ishvara, divided his body into two, as male and female, Manu and Shatarupa. These represent the male and female aspects. O Lord of Guruvayur, O Govinda, thou who did multiply the human race through them, deign or kindly grace me to eradicate my ailments totally. Nirundha means totally. This is the meaning of the verse. Before going into the Bhavartha of this, I would like to add one more thing here, that this is addressed to Lord. Lord is addressed to as the Govinda and Maruta Puresha. Maruta Puresha, we have seen the meaning. Govinda is the meaning, which is a very striking word, which is commonly used, which I thought we should also understand. Lord is addressed as Govinda. What it means, we'll see in the Go normally means the cow. But it is also mentioned in the Bhashya also, Vishnu Sahasranama, that also means Bhumi, Akasha, etc. And it says that Gakara has got a very great significance. Gakaraha Siddhihi Proktaha. Gakara means that which attains success is called Gakaraha. The Lord, the literal meaning of Govinda is Govindati. Gavaha Rakshati iti Govinda, one who protects the Gav. It is mentioned, there is a stotra which says, Gita Ganga cha Gayatri Govindeti Hritistite Chatur Prakara Samyukte Punarjanma na Vidyate. One who remembers this or chants this. Bhagavad Gita, Ganga, takes the water Ganga, Cha Gayatri, chanting Gayatri, and remembering the name of the Lord, Govinda. So remembering Govinda, chanting Gayatri, chanting Gita, and having the water, taking the Ganges water. This is just even Hritistite, Govindeti Hritistite, says, in the Hridaya itself. Even when you remember mentally also the Ganges, you will not even take the water. The verse says, Chatur Prakara, these four things, Samyukte, together you must remember all these. Then what happens? Punar Janmana Vidyate, we do not have another birth. And we are released from the bondage of samsara. There's a verse like this as a side note. Now we look at the meaning of the word Govinda. Govinda comes in the Vishnu Sahasranama, the 187th name and 539 name. 539th name. We'll see both these names here. This is the based on Shankara Bhashya again. The literal meaning I have already given there. This is the inner significance of the word. The Govinda means the rescuer of the earth and the Vedas. Shankara Bhashya original says, Nashtam vai dharanim purvam abindam vai guhagatam Govinda iti tenaham devair vagbir abhishtutaha iti moksha dharma vachanat Govindaha. This is Shankara's original verse, Shankara Bhashya's. Meaning is like this. In the Mahabharata, Bhagavan introduces his various names and their meanings. There he says, because I found the earth that was hidden in the lower regions at the beginning of the creation, I am praised by the Devas and the scriptures as Govinda. This is the avatara meaning. You know, Lord has taken as avatara Paraha. The pride of Indra was crushed by the Lord when he lifted the Govardhanagiri and he protected the cows during the Krishna Avatara. Hence Indra praised him, saying, I am the Indra, the Lord of the Devas, and you are the Indra of the cows. Lord is the Indra of the cows, the protector of the cows. As Gavam Indraha, the Lord of the cows, people will praise you forever as again. The sloka is there in the Bhagavata. Aham kilendro devanam tvam gavam intratam gataha govinda iti lokastam tushyanti bhuvi shashvatam. Actually, sorry, this is from Harivamsha. There are two verses there. Again, it is said in the form of Hayagriva, as he found and rescued the Vedas stolen by the Asuras, Madhu and Kaitaba. He is known as the Govinda. This is also coming from the Harivamsa only. Both these are, Darshan Shankaracharya has quoted this here. Gauresha bhustatavani tamcha vindayate bhavan govindastu tadodeva munivihi katyate bhavan. Both are from Harivamsa. Now we go into the other meaning of the word Govinda, which is coming as the 539th name in Vishnu Sahasranama. The one known through the Vedas. Gobihi vanibihi vedyata iti Vedanta vakyaihi iti va Govindaha. Go here means Shabda, because for Vedas the Shabda is the Pramana. Since Bhagavan is known through Go, through the Shabda, that is, he is the Vedas himself. He is called Govinda. He is known mainly through the words. We have the Mahavakyas, Tattvamasi, Prajnanam Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, Ayamatma Brahman, all these coming from various 4 Vedas, all these Mahavakyas. They are the Lakshana Vakyas. So, where we understand, where we get the knowledge of the Brahman. So, he is known, these Shabdas, therefore it is called Go. Bhagavan has to introduce himself. He makes you see him through his own words, which are the Shruti. Shruti is the Veda. Therefore, Veda is the Sabda Pramana, and through the Rishis, he reveals himself. There is one Vishnu Tilaka says, Gobireva Yato Vedyo Govindaha Samudhartaha. These are all quotes. That means the meaning is, as he is to be known through the words of the Veda, he is well known as Govinda. So, Gobihi means here Shabdaha. Gobihi Vedyate iti Govindaha. Even in the Gita, Sri Krishna makes himself known as to what he is. He reveals himself through his own words, which are the words of Ishvara. They are the words of the Veda. Sri Krishna says, this is what I taught to Vivaswan. 4th chapter. I think 4th chapter, verse number 1 and 2. He says, this is what I taught to Vivaswan, Lord's son, or the head of the solar dynasty. He taught it to his son Manu, and Manu taught this to Ishvaku, in whose lineage Sri Rama was born. Handed down from generation to generation, the kings who were sages knew it, or else the kings knew and the rishis knew. Thus, this knowledge has been coming down. This Vedic wisdom, how it is transmitted, is mentioned here. Mention is made about the Manu. Vivaswan taught to his son Manu. Lord's son is considered to be the head, and then to his son Manu he has taught. And we are going to see in this sloka also that Brahma himself splits himself as Manu and Shatarupa. More in the next session. We will be concluding the Dasaka in the next session. Bhave bhave yatha bhaktihi padayostava jayade tata gurushva devesha natastam no yata prabho nam sangeetanam yasya sarva bhava pranasanam pranamo dukkha samanaha tam namami harim param Narayana Akila Guru Bhagavan Namaste Hari Om. Ya Devi Stuyate Nityam Vibhutair Veda Paragaihi Same Vasadu Jihvagre Brahma Rupa Saraswati Namami Narayana Pada Pankajam Karomi Narayana Pujanam Sada Vadami Narayana Namadharmalam Smarami Narayana Tattvam Abhyayam. Invoking the grace of Goddess Saraswati, Guru Vairappan, Mahaperiyava and other Guru Parampara. We are now on the concluding verse of Dasaka 10, that is verse number 10 of Dasaka 10, in which in the last session we explained the glory of Govinda. There is also one sloka which also talks about the glory of the Govinda like this: Govindeti sada snanam, sada jabam, sada dhyanam, sada Govinda kirtanam. So the Lord therefore here is addressed as a Govinda, one who is known in the Vedas as the Brahman himself, and one who is also the protector of the cows and the protector of the earth. We saw all this in details in the last session. Here one more word is Brahma is used as the Ajan. Ajan means one who is, Ajaha means one who is unborn, one who is not born from the womb of mother. So that is only referred to again the Brahman himself. So Brahma is addressed here as the Brahman himself, which is Eka, one, without a second, Sara, which is the essence of everything, which is Nitya, means which exists at all 3 points of time, and also Satyam, it has got an independent existence. Everything exists on him. That's the meaning. And it's also Purana. Purana means Pura Eva Nava. Although it is old, it is yet new, means it exists at all times without any vikaras. Nirvikaraha. That's the meaning of this ajaha word also is there here. And there has been mentioned here that Brahma divides himself as male and female as Manu and Satarupa. And that's how it has been. The creation starts, it is mentioned here. Now, this Purusha Stri can be equated to the Shiva and Shakti principle, where the Shiva represents the Parabrahman and Shakti represents the Maya. Even in Saundarya Lahari, this word is used in a different context. Saundarya Lahari is a text composition by Acharya. Of course, the first 1 to 41 are the composition by Lord Shiva himself on Giyambal. It was called Ananda Lahari. And where the word is mentioned here, that the Ambal herself is Shakti. God is shown as, in that in Shiva Shakti Yukta, Ambal is referred to as Paramatman, God or one's chosen deity. That's why I said it can be anybody. Here in this context, Ambal as that person. And such Paramatma, Parabrahma Shakti will manifest herself as Maya. She will bless the devout in Saguna form, that is, and in her Nirguna form also. In Saguna form as the Maya Shakti there, and in Nirguna form she will liberate the seeker and give jnanam. So through bhakti, she will enable a person to become a jnani by giving the jnanam of Parabrahman. And this is the composition, a rare, very unique composition. The very first verse talks about Shiva Shakti Yukta. So we find here Shiva and Shakti are inseparable. We should try to understand here that Shiva is, you will see in any poem that Shiva is the one who is the Parabrahman and Shakti is the Maya Sarupa, which is required for creation. Parabrahman lends existence and Maya is the names and forms. So Maya is called, Upadana Karanas are two. Maya is the Parinami Upadana Karana, Brahman is called the Vivarta Upadana Karana. So both are made required. Ishvara is considered to be both the Nimitta and Upadana, Parinami Upadana Karana. And from the reflected consciousness, Pradibhamba Chaitanya, he is the Nimitta or the intelligence cause. This is how we see the creation. So we have these, we should understand here very clearly that both are inseparable. Actually, it's only one truth which is given different names. Like when we see that in the Ardhanarishwara aspect, you can see in both that Shiva comes to the right and Shakti is on the left. Without Shakti, creation is not possible. Without Shiva also, Shakti cannot create, because the Shakti is the one which gives the consciousness. So Maya Shakti borrows the consciousness from Shiva. Therefore, they are Ardhanarishwara, and actually they are only one, but given different names based on the functional aspect as such. So the one who gives Shakti is the Purusha, the Shiva, and the receiver of the Shakti is Maya, the consciousness. Both are inseparable. Just as when you say a person stands and walks, it's the same person who stands and walks. So the Nischala and Chala relate to the same person. In this way we have to see the moving and non-moving. So the moving Maya Shakti is linked with the non-moving Parabrahman, which is the guiding principle. This is how this should be seen here, so that there is more clarity in the understanding of this. And this is how the creation starts, it is mentioned. In this context, I would also like to take hope in the Vishnu Sahasranam also there are two names of the Lord. Udbhavaha, verse number name 3373, which says Prapancha Utpatti Karanatvad, one who is the material cause of the samsara, above bhava. That's all. Udbhavaha means material cause is above bhava, above samsara. So the material cause means here both the Upadana Karana means both the changing Parinami Upadana Karana and Vivarta Upadana Karana is contained here as Udbhavaha. And there is another next verse comes, next name comes as Kshobanaha, 374. Here it is said that Sarga Kale Prakriti Purusham Cha Pravishya, the one who enters or stirs up everything at the time of creation, that means one who enters in the Purusha and Prakriti. Here the Purusha and Prakriti is to be understood slightly differently, because normally when you say Purusha and denotes both. Ishvara is both the Nimitta and Vivarta and Parinami Upadana. and also the nimitta karana. But here it is only seen as the intelligent cause, and prakriti is the maya. So behind the intelligent cause purusha, and behind the prakriti maya, there is the parabrahman, which is the vivarta upadhana karana, which is the material cause for the creation to come into existence. And that is why we say here Brahmaji himself as a Swarupa Vishnu himself is the Parameshwara, who is the Parabrahman, who is the Vivarta Upadana Karana, who manifests here, who enters the creation through Purusha and Prakriti in the form of a Nimitta and Parinami Upadana Karana. You have to see that way, then this verse makes sense. Sarga Kale Prakriti Purusham cha Pravishya. So the Brahma himself, who is an aspect of Vishnu, now divides himself for the sake of creation as Manu and Satarupa. Manu and Satarupa means Purusha, and Manu is the Purusha aspect, Satarupa is the Sakti aspect. The Purusha aspect now is the intelligent cause, and Satarupa is the Maya Parinami Upadana Karana. It should be seen that way. Then we'll find that now all these names looks to be different, but they relate to one only. We should understand. Just like when you see a fire, fire is hot and it gives light also. Heat and light are the properties of one and same fire. Light is heat. Heat is manifested as light. So the Agni Tattva remains the same as one. Similarly, here also the names are separate. Names are given based on the functional aspects, but the underlying truth is only one. So therefore, that is we say Shiva and Shakti are inseparable. So creation is not possible is possible only with Manu and Satarupa together, and with the Parabrahman as the one who lends consciousness. That is here the Vishnu or the Brahma, who is the Hamsha of the Vishnu. We have to see in that way. Then the whole verse makes a meaningful representation of the nature of creation. Bhattatripada, realizing the glory of the Lord, thus prays to the Lord to eradicate his ailments totally, because only Lord can cure the bodily and mental ailments. The ailments are two. Anything related to body is called Vyadhi, we know that, and which emanates in the mind. The mental illness is called Adi. Adi is something which comes from the mind, and mind is the root cause of also all the ailments. So therefore it is said that he is the only God, is the only person who can cure me of all the ailments. Therefore he makes the prayer to Lord to eradicate of the all ailments. So these ailments are arising because of the raga and dveshas, and which has affected the mind and body equally. Bodily diseases get converted into mental diseases, and therefore the prayer is the Lord to arrest this trend and thereby make his mind pure, free from ailments, and thereby relieve him also of all the bodily ailments. This is the prayer made by the Lord. With this, the Dasaga 10 comes to an end. And for reference purpose, we can mention here, I can mention Bhagavata 3 Skanda, third Skanda means in Bhagavatam, if you go to the third Skanda, this is covered here, and the chapters referred to are the chapter 10, 11 and 12 are condensed in this Dasaka. So with this we come to the Dasaka 10 of Bhagavad Narayaniyam, and we now move into the Dasaka number 11. I will just start the Dasaka and we will go up onto the detailed meaning in the next session. Kramena sarge parivardhamane kathapi divya sanakadayaste bhavad vilokaya vikuntalokam prabhedire marutamandiresha. Here the abhyaya is like this. I will read it once more. Kramena sarge parivardhamane kadapi divyaha sanakadayaste bhavad vilokaya vikuntalokam prapedire maruta mandiresha. Anvaya is like this. Maruta mandiresha sarge kramena parivardhamane kadapi divyaha te sanakadayaha bhavad vilokaya vikuntalokam prapedire. Hey, the meaning is, hey Maruta Mandiresha, O Lord of Guruvayur, Sarge Kramena Parivardhamane, while creation was gradually progressing, Kadapi, once, दिव्याः ते सनकादयः, those divine sages, that is Sanaka and others, Sanaka and others which were talked about in the previous Dashaka, Bhavad Vilokaya, to see Vikunta Logam Prapedire, reached Vaikunta. O Lord of Guruvayur, while creation was gradually progressing, the four divine sages, Sanakadaya means Sanaka, Sananta, Sanatana and Sanat Kumara, went to Vaikunta in order to see and pay obeisance to thee, respects to thee. That's what it means here. This Bhagavata 3 chapters 15, 16 and 17, for information, they are condensed in this Dasaka, just for information. So there's a link to Bhagavatam also in this. We'll go into it in little more details in the next session. Bhave bhave yatha bhaktihi padayostava jayate tata kurusha devesha natastvam no yada prabho nama sankirtan vyasya sarva vaba pranasanam pranamo dukkha samanaha tam namami harim param. Narayana Akila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. Hari Om.
Radhe Krishna. Gopika Jivana Smaranam Govinda Govinda. Chanting of the 10th Dashakam of Narayaniyam. Vaikunta-vardita balotha bhavat prasadhat ambojayonirasrajat khila jiva dehan stasnuni bhuruha mayani tatha tirascham jatirmanushya nivahanapi deva bhedan mityagrahasmi matiraga vikopabhitihi ajnanavrittimiti panchavidham sasrishtva uddhama tamasa padartha vidhanadunah tene tvadiya charana smaranam vishuddhyai tavat sasarja manasa sanakam sanandam bhuyah sanatana munim cha sanat kumaram te srishti karmani tutena niyujyamanaha tvatpadha bhakti rasikha jahurnavani tavat prakopamuditam pratirundha tosya भ्रूमध्यतो जनि मृडो भवदे कदेशः नामानि मे कुरु पदानि चः विरिञ्चेति आधौ रुरोध किल तेन सरुद्रनामा एकादशाह्वयतयाश्च विभिन्नरूपं रुद्रं विधाय दयिता वनिताश्च दत्त्वा तावन्त्यधत्त च पदानि भवत्प्रणुन्नः प्राह प्रजाविरचनाय च साधरं तं रुद्राभिसृष्टिभयदाकृति रुद्रसङ्घसम्पूर्यमाणभुवनत्रयभीतचेताः मामा प्रजाः सृज तपश्चरमङ्गलायेति आचष्टतं कमलभूर्भवधीरितात्मा तस्माथ सर्गरसिकस्य मरीचिरत्रिः तत्राङ्गिरः क्रतुमनिः पुलः पुलस्त्यः अङ्गादजायत भृगुश्च वसिष्ठदक्षौ श्रीनारदश्च भगवान् भवधङ्घ्रिदासः धर्माधिकान् अभिसृजन्नथ कर्दमं च वाणीं विधाय विधिरङ्गज सङ्कुलोऽभूत् त्वद्बोधितैः सनकदक्षमुखैस्तनूजैः उद्बोधितश्च विररामतमो विमुञ्चन् वेदान् पुराणनिवहानपि सर्वविद्याः कुर्वन्निजाननगणाश्चतुराननोऽसौ पुत्रेषु तेषु विनिधाय ससर्गवृद्धिम् आप्राप्नुवंस्तव पदाम्बुजमाश्रितोऽभूत् जानन्नुपायमतदेहमजो विभज्य श्रीपुंसभावमभजन् मनुतद्वधूभ्यां ताभ्यां समानुषकुलानि विवर्धयंस्त्वं गोविन्दमारुतपुरेश निरुन्धिरोगान्. गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं गोविन्द गोविन्द. राधे कृष्ण.
या देवी स्तूयते नित्यं विबुधैर्वेदपारगैः सा मे वसतु जिह्वाग्रे ब्रह्मरूपा सरस्वती. नमामि नारायणपादपङ्कजं